My beloved child, before another thought crosses your mind, let the silence speak first. There is a reason your heart slowed down the moment you found this message. Some stories never truly end, they simply wait for the right season to reveal what was hidden between the lines. Your soulmate never stopped thinking about you, but the most surprising part is not the thought itself. It is why those thoughts refuse to disappear. Imagine carrying a memory that quietly returns during ordinary moments, not because someone is trying to hold on to the past, but because something meaningful was never fully understood. What if every unexpected reminder, every familiar feeling, and every moment of reflection was pointing towards something much deeper than coincidence? Stay with this message a little longer. The first piece of this mystery is only beginning to unfold. Have you ever noticed how certain people leave your thoughts without effort, while others remain present even after time has moved on? There is a reason for that difference. Some connections are built only through circumstances. Others are built through transformation. Your soulmate's thoughts were never trapped in yesterday. They continued because every new experience gave them another reason to understand what your presence truly meant. At first, they believed life would naturally carry everything forward. But instead of fading, the memories became clearer. Small conversations gained new meaning. Ordinary moments became unforgettable. Questions they never asked themselves before slowly began demanding answers. What once seemed complete suddenly felt unfinished. And that quiet realization became impossible to ignore. What if the distance was never the real story? What if the real story was the understanding that arrived because of the distance? Now pause for a moment and ask yourself one simple question. Why do certain moments arrive at exactly the right time? Why do unexpected thoughts appear without warning, carrying emotions that feel strangely familiar? The answer may not be where most people choose to look. It may be hidden inside growth itself. While you have been changing, learning, and becoming stronger, another journey has also been unfolding beyond your view. Not every important chapter is written where you can immediately see it. Some chapters develop quietly until the right moment connects every missing piece. Before you move to the next part, remember this one thought: the strongest connections are not measured by constant attention. They are revealed by the moments that refuse to lose their meaning, even after everything else has changed. The next chapter will uncover why those thoughts never truly disappeared and why that truth matters more now than ever before. A quiet realization changes everything, and it rarely arrives all at once. It appears in small moments that most people would overlook. A familiar place. A simple conversation. A song heard at an unexpected time. Suddenly, a memory returns, not to pull someone backward, but to help them understand something they never fully appreciated before. Your soulmate never stopped thinking about you because those memories kept revealing new meaning every time they resurfaced. Stay a little longer, because this is where the story begins to unfold in a way few people ever expect. What once seemed like an ordinary chapter slowly became the one they continued revisiting, searching for the lesson hidden between every remembered detail. Here is what makes this journey so remarkable. Time has a way of changing perspective. Moments that once felt ordinary begin to shine with a different light when seen through experience. They started recognizing qualities they had once taken for granted: your patience during difficult conversations, your quiet strength when circumstances were uncertain, and the way you brought calm without asking for recognition. None of these realizations arrived in a single day. They grew slowly, almost invisibly, until one simple thought became impossible to ignore. Some people leave a lasting impact not because they try to, but because they change the way another person sees the world. Before you continue, consider this question. What if the greatest connection is not the one that demands attention every day, but the one that quietly shapes a person's heart over time? Now another layer begins to reveal itself. While those reflections were growing stronger, your own journey was also moving forward. You were learning lessons, overcoming challenges, and becoming a different person from the one you were before. Two separate paths were changing at the same time, each preparing for a deeper understanding that neither side could have recognized earlier. You might miss the turning point if you stop here, because the next chapter uncovers the one discovery that transformed reflection into purpose. It explains why those thoughts never truly faded and why the timing of this message is more meaningful than it first appears. Every piece is leading toward a revelation that brings the title into perfect focus. There comes a point when reflection is no longer about remembering the past. It becomes about understanding its meaning. That is exactly where this journey begins to change. The thoughts that kept returning were never asking someone to live in yesterday. They were quietly revealing what had been impossible to recognize at the time. Every memory became a mirror, showing not only what happened but why it mattered. That is why your soulmate never stopped thinking about you. It was not because time stood still. It was because every step forward brought a deeper appreciation for what your presence had truly added to their life. Wait until the final moment, because the next piece of this story connects everything you have heard so far. Imagine reading a book for the second time. The words remain the same, but your understanding is completely different. Life works in a similar way. The events do not change, yet the person looking back does. Through growth, new experiences, and quiet moments of reflection, they began noticing details they had once overlooked. A simple conversation now carried wisdom. A shared moment now revealed kindness they had failed to recognize. What once seemed ordinary slowly became extraordinary. The remarkable part is that this transformation did not happen because someone told them what to think. It happened because experience gave them new eyes. Sometimes the greatest realization is not discovering something new. It is finally seeing what was always there. There is still one question left unanswered. Why is this understanding becoming clear now instead of years ago? The answer is closer than it seems. Some truths require distance before they can be fully understood. Some lessons reveal themselves only after enough growth has taken place. Before you go, hear this one line: timing is not always about when something begins, it is often about when someone becomes ready to understand its value. The next part will uncover the final connection, the one that explains why this message reached you today and how every chapter, every pause, and every unexpected memory has been leading toward one unforgettable realization. One final layer has been waiting quietly beneath everything you have heard. The story was never only about memories. It was about what those memories slowly became. There is a difference between remembering someone and understanding their true influence. Your soulmate never stopped thinking about you because every season of growth revealed another reason your connection mattered. The questions that once seemed impossible to answer gradually became clear, not through dramatic events, but through quiet reflection. A single thought returned again and again. Some people do not simply pass through your life, they leave a perspective that continues shaping the future long after the moment has passed. Stay a little longer, because the deepest truth is only now coming into view. Here is the remarkable discovery. The greatest connections are not measured by how often two people think about each other. They are measured by how much they inspire growth, wisdom, and hope. As the years unfolded, they began to recognize that your kindness had encouraged strength, your patience had inspired calm, and your authenticity had quietly challenged them to become a better version of themselves. That realization changed everything. The memories no longer belonged to the past. They became part of the future they hoped to create through greater honesty, understanding, and purpose. If these words have given you a new perspective, consider sharing this message with someone who may also need this reminder today. And if stories like this continue to bring clarity, remember to subscribe so we can continue exploring these journeys together. Only one chapter remains before this story reaches its destination. It is not the chapter you may be expecting. It is not about dramatic endings or extraordinary surprises. It is about the quiet realization that transforms every question into understanding. Before you decide what this title truly means, wait for the final part. There, every hidden piece will come together, every reflection will find its place, and you will discover that the greatest truth was never that someone kept thinking about you. It was why those thoughts continued growing into something that time could never erase. The final chapter begins with a truth that few people ever notice until much later. Time does not erase every meaningful connection. Instead, it reveals which ones were built on something deeper than passing moments. Your soulmate never stopped thinking about you because those thoughts were never held together by nostalgia alone. They endured because every new experience added another layer of understanding. The more life unfolded, the more clearly they saw the quiet impact you had made. What once seemed like an ordinary part of their story slowly became one of its defining chapters. And perhaps the greatest surprise of all is this: the connection was never asking to be remembered. It was simply too meaningful to be forgotten. That is why this message found you today. Not to promise a future, but to remind you that genuine influence is measured by the way it continues shaping hearts long after a single moment has passed. Now consider this from a different perspective. While those reflections were becoming clearer, your own journey was transforming you as well. You were learning lessons that only experience could teach. You were discovering strengths you never knew you possessed. Without realizing it, both paths were moving toward greater wisdom, not by standing still, but by continuing to grow. That is the hidden meaning behind this entire story. Lasting connections are not defined by constant attention. They are revealed through the quiet ways they inspire courage, kindness, patience, and purpose. If this journey has brought a new perspective into your life, consider sharing it with someone who may need these words today, and if these stories continue to encourage you, remember to subscribe so we can continue exploring meaningful journeys together. As this story comes to its close, carry one thought with you wherever you go. Never underestimate the value of the way you treat others, because genuine kindness often leaves a deeper mark than you will ever know. The most meaningful chapters of life are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they are written in quiet conversations, simple moments, and sincere actions that continue echoing through time. Your soulmate never stopped thinking about you because what truly mattered was never a single memory, it was the lasting perspective created by your presence. And perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all: the strongest connections are not remembered because they demanded attention. They are remembered because they quietly changed the way someone saw the world, and once that happens, the story never truly ends.